The effects of a lower exchange rate on the balance of payments are a familiar and often difficult issue. On the board, I am examining the effect of a lower exchange rate, a devaluation of the pound. In this case, the exchange rate, which is of course the price of one currency expressed in terms of another, I am expressing in terms of Hong Kong dollars. So, the exchange rate of the pound is falling from 12 Hong Kong dollars to 10. This will affect both exports and imports, and we must be clear at all times whether we are talking about export prices, export volumes, or export values. We will assume a price of a UK export will remain unchanged at £10. Thus, at the old exchange rate of £1 to 12 Hong Kong dollars, this product is sold in Hong Kong for $120, and I am assuming an initial consumption of 10 units. Thus, spending in Hong Kong dollars on the UK export is $1,200. A lower exchange rate will, other things equal, have the effect of reducing export prices. An unchanged sterling price leaves the foreign export price lower. Now, when prices change, the increase in demand, or the change in demand, is of course dependent upon price elasticity of demand. So, here I have shown three different possible outcomes in the Hong Kong market for our UK export. Demand will rise because the price has fallen. The extent of that rise depends upon price elasticity of demand. It is, of course, quite conceivable that demand increases in the same measure as the price has fallen. In such a case, total expenditure in Hong Kong dollars would remain at 1,200 and the price elasticity of demand would be 1. We could show this on a demand curve for our product being sold in Hong Kong, the original price of 120 and the new price of 100. And consumption rises from 10 to 12, expenditure remains at 1,200. However, particularly in the short run, we might find that demand actually increases by less than 2 and only increases by 1 unit. This would be an inelastic demand. It's also possible, of course, that demand increases by more than 2 units. For example, in the case of the blue numbers, 2, 14, and this would represent elastic demand. Notice that in all cases, the UK exporter benefits because he is selling more units at a constant sterling price. So although there is a fall in dollar expenditure in Hong Kong, the UK exporter gains because he can sell more units at £10. Alternatively, if we calculate $1,100 at this exchange rate, this is of course £110, whereas $1,200 at the old exchange rate is only £100. Exporters love lower exchange rates and always benefit from them. The import side is unfortunately more difficult. For the same exchange rate change, we will now consider what happens to the imports from Hong Kong. A product whose price in Hong Kong is $120 will see its price when imported to the UK change. Importing a product of $120 in Hong Kong will cost us initially £10. If falling exchange rate results in an increase in import prices, if we previously had sold 12 units, our total expenditure in pounds would have been 120. Now, of course, our consumption of imports will fall, and the extent of that fall will depend upon price elasticity of demand. It is feasible that price elasticity is unit. In such a case, expenditure on imports remains constant. In the short run, however, it's more likely that elasticity is very low and that demand does not fall very much. In this case, spending on the more expensive imports would actually rise. A higher elasticity would result in a larger fall in import demand and an actual reduction in expenditure on imports. The overall effect on the balance of payments, therefore, of a devaluation depends upon the price elasticity of demand of both exports and imports. Critically, it requires price elasticity of exports and imports to be greater than 1 in order for the balance of payments to benefit from a lower exchange rate. This is known as the Marshall-Lerner condition.